Another important discussion is around the famous Nelson Mandela shirts. They've made an appearance at Paris Fashion Week. In fact, designer Sonwabile Ndamase, who also owns the label Vukani Range Creations, was invited to showcase his new collection, which now also includes women's wear. Ndamase rose to fame by designing iconic bold print shirts for the late Nelson Mandela. So let's find out from him how Paris Week actually was and perhaps what the way forward looks like. What an honor. In our presence. Babu Ndamase joins us now in our studio this morning. Good morning, sir. Thanks very much for popping by.
Good morning to you too, and thank you very much for having me here.
I'm sure
and
everybody
also to all your viewers.
Yeah. No, thanks for making time. I'm sure everybody who interviews you is asking when their shirt is arriving, but I'll leave that off air. From Newport in the Eastern Cape, all the way to Paris. Can't wait for you to recover. Surely you get that question.
No. The thing is, one is that now what is more interesting is the way that you have coined it. That this is a discussion after.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to find out what's happening with us with this bribery situation.
Oh, no. Let me be clear.
I'm just pulling your leg.
Okay, it's a 1-1. Sure, it's a draw. Let's get to the business of why you're here.
Yes,
the great strides that you continue to make, despite how long you've been doing this. Paris Fashion Week for any designer is obviously, something that they've aimed for. Take us through perhaps what was in your mind as you prepared to be part of this showcase, this global stage, and what you were hoping would be communicated.
It has been there's no journey that one will take it as an easy journey.
Yeah.
Every time and again you get invited, you first have what we call those butterflies. And then you ask yourself, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? Because this is a call that is coming true. And then when it came true to me, it was like something that I was not ready for, so to speak, but it was something that has to be done. And I had to do that. Then understanding Paris, how it is, and understanding Milan, because those are the huge capitals of fashion. And therefore, if you are going to those kind of platform, what is it that you're supposed to be doing? And also knowing that is a kind of a research that you have to do, and knowing as well the brand that you are bringing to these people, and being an ambassador as well of your own country, because you are not just only selling fashion, you are selling culture, you are selling the economy of your own stable, that is of your country. So those are the kind of things that comes to mind and that came to my mind. And what kind of a collection that then will prickle these people's eyes and say, wow, this is something that we did not expect. And therefore, those kind of butterflies are the ones that made me to come up with the collection that I came up with, and of which you have just summed it very well. The ladies' wear that I was doing, which was influenced by the collection of the Madiba shirt that I have been doing over the years.
Yeah, these shirts that become so nostalgic in some instances. I think people see them and, they're reminded of, the great man and the great contributions that he and many others have made to our country.
Correct.
You touch on a very interesting point. It's not just about the fabric. Don't get me wrong, that's important.
Correct.
But it's about the ideas, the narrative, the stories that are told through this fabric. How do you reckon South Africa's story lands on that kind of stage?
Well, as I always say, you cannot sell an ice to Eskimos. You must always, when you are going through the platform that you are being invited, do your proper research. Know the kind of people that you are going to meet. And in this instance, the fabric that I had to work on, it had to be the fabric that at the end of the day will give the narrative of the better of us as South Africa, and us as a country, and us as a continent within African continent. Because sometimes the moment you go into those stages, know one thing: you are no more going to be representing now South Africa on its own. They're looking, other people, you said, coming from South Africa, it becomes like Africa.
Yes.
Now, what is it that you can differentiate between yourself as a South African and yourself as an African?
Right.
In the eyes of the international world. And that is exactly what I had to do, to showcase that we as African community, we have so much to offer. And what is then that we can offer? Because what happened, international world has been using us as a muse. In their designs, they always copy what happened to African countries because they see them as a virgin market. Because they have to come back and sell those things that we can identify with. And it is then within that particular staple that when I go and start narrating our way of how we do things, I must take those things into consideration.
Right.
And then when I put myself onto those particular platforms, then they say, the rest is history.
Absolutely, and we are so fortunate to witness it all unfold. You touched on something I was hoping to engage you on, and that's around this interest in Africa, which, let's be frank, has always been there. But if you look at pop culture, things like music, maybe sometimes even art and fashion,
correct,
it feels like there's a revival of a whole lot of that. What kind of opportunities and potential risks do you reckon that comes with? Because the other side of the coin, of course, is that when people are interested, sometimes they go about that interest in not so ethical ways. I'm talking now about the stealing of intellectual property, for instance, the perversion of some of those designs.
You've touched a very sensitive nerve, which actually our politicians, they seem to forget, which with some of the things that we've been fighting for, the IP side of things. Because, I mean, take for example, unpacks, which I have used as an opening in that particular platform, because I was showcasing where I come from, who am I, because at the end of the day, in designing music and everything, you must be influenced by your background. Even international designers, Japanese designers, they will tell you when they start to do all those kind of things, the first thing that they do, they mimic, actually they don't mimic, they draw their strength from where they come from. Now, what happened then in this particular case is that our challenge with our government is not protecting us. Go in all genres, music, you name it. Because when, same applies, now I went into that particular platform. So many cameras that were there. So many people that were taking pictures. What else? That other people would just only steal those particular designs.
Right.
And manufacture them in our neighboring international world, in Asian countries. And they bring it in tons. In the meantime, here at home, when I was going there, I was not protected.
Sure.
Same applies with the music. You find that you go to those particular stage, you start actually doing whatever music that you have to play. If then the intellectual property is not registered, guess what? It gets stolen.
And that's why we've seen so many artists later on coming out to really lament their plight, despite how many years they've been active. Thank you so much for coming through and speaking to us. You and I can speak here until the cows come home, so to speak. But it's been a great honor. Congratulations once again for continuing to represent the country as well as you have. And upwards and onwards, as they say.
But thank you very much. Actually, one of the things that I just want to leave our viewers with is that I have to thank the FP&M SETA, which is the Fiber Processing and Manufacturing SETA, that is backing all my experiences so that I can plow it back to the young and upcoming designers. Now we are having learnership that will be pushing up at our studio, and internship, and looking after these young and upcoming designers in our national program that we are going to be doing, and the skills development. So that is one of the things that I'm thanking the SETA for having, protecting also wanting me to leave the legacy,
Yeah.
as what Madiba has said.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was about to say. It's about legacy. Babu Sonwabile Ndamase, thanks very much indeed once again for coming through. Really
Thank
do
you very much
appreciate
for
your time. Babu
having me.
Ndamase, of course, an iconic designer with Vukani Fashions, was recently at Paris Fashion Week. And of course, we look forward to what else he has in store.